LLMs are smart, but they hallucinate. They don't know your files, they don't know your database, or they don't know what were the notes of yesterday's class. Then, how do we make an AI that answers us using our data? Well, that's where RAG comes in. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what is a RAG agent, how do we make a RAG agent in n8n, and plus what are the real life examples or use cases of a RAG agent. Well, hi guys, my name is Vasu. Welcome to Figure with Vasu, and in the third episode of Making Life Easy with AI, मैं आपको बताने वाला हूँ what is RAG and everything about it, and how are we going to make it in today's video in n8n from scratch, and it's going to be an amazing journey. So let's begin. Well, let's come down to the first part, that is what is RAG. So I'm going to explain this to you with a very simple example. Suppose you're sitting right next to the world's smartest person, but this person doesn't know your company's handbook or your notes or anything right now. So if you want to ask them a question without them hallucinating or guessing, then how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to give the document to them and then ask a question. Then they are going to search that document, find the relevant portion in which the answer to your question lies, and then they will pick that portion and give it to you and explain the answer. Well, that's what a RAG does in simple terms. But I also want to explain RAG to you in technical terms too, so that you get that core understanding and you remember it lifelong. Well, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And to understand RAG, you need to first understand these 5 major components. So the first one is embeddings. Now, as normal humans, we usually talk in a particular language, but the computer doesn't know that language. It only understands numbers. So what we need to do is that we need to convert that text into numbers so that it represents the meaning of our question. And these numbers are called vectors. So when we give a sentence like, what is my password? This sentence gets converted into a series of numbers like this. And now this list of number is known as embeddings. And the model that converts the text into numbers is known as an embedding model. So example of embedding models are like OpenAI or Cohere. Now, what is a vector? I already told you. You might be wondering what is the difference between embedding and a vector. Well, embedding is basically a list of numbers which represents any meaning, but vector is just basically a list of numbers. So every embedding is a vector, but not all vectors are embeddings. So when we given sentences like, how do I reset my password and what is my password? So both of these sentences will have a similar vector because the meaning of both the sentences is almost the same. So the third component is a vector database. It is basically the whole memory. A vector database stores the document chunks that you send over to it and the vectors. So some popular vector databases are Pinecone, Chroma, and there are many more, but in this video we're going to use Pinecone to make our RAG agent. Now let's come down to the fourth component, that is a retrieval. So retrieval basically means taking out that particular chunk which has the answer to your question and sending it to LLM. And last is the augmented generation. So now we use the user's question and the retrieved document chunk and then send it to LLM, and then it is going to answer us using both of these resources. So now the answer that the user will get will be very accurate and will be backed by data. Now let me show you a demo of this RAG agent. So let me give it a chat input like, can you tell me the refund policy of the company? And I'm just going to send it, and the workflow will happen like this. So as you can see, the chat input went into the AI agent, and then we have encoded, or we can basically have joined the Pinecone vector as the tool that it is going to use. And well, it has replied with a message that is, I'm sorry, but the hypothetical policy document I have access to does not contain any section on refunds. It covers the terms of service, a privacy policy, and a brief FAQ, but no specific refund policy is mentioned. So as you can see that the actual document that I gave him does not have a refund policy. So let's fact check it. So as you can see, this is my policy and FAQ document that I actually generated with ChatGPT to test out this, and it does not include introduction, information we collect, how we use information, data storage, data sharing, users' right, terms and acceptance, but it does not include any refund policy as far as I can see. So that's what I wanted to say, that how good a RAG agent is, because it does not hallucinate. It just straight out said that it doesn't have the access or doesn't have the answer to this question. Now let's also test it with a question relating to the information we collect. So we're going to send another query like, what information is being collected, and now I'm going to just send the answer. And let's wait. So again, the whole workflow works like this, and see how quickly it responded to my question, because it already retrieved all the chunks to find out the answer. Because when it doesn't know the answer, it goes through all the chunks, and when it goes through all the chunks, it finds out that all right, any of the chunks does not have any answer. So it told me quickly, because it already had that chunk in which my answer is stored. And now you look at it, how it has presented. So it has presented with category, examples, and everything. So now it is in HTML language. We can actually convert it, so it's not a big deal. Personal information, usage data, connected services data, voice and text inputs. And as you can see in our document, it is personal information, usage data, connected services data, voice and text input. So it actually told us the actual answer. So it's very nice. And today we are going to see how are we going to build it. So let's do it. So in the part 2, we are going to build the RAG agent. So the first thing that you need to do is have an account in Pinecone. Now, what is a Pinecone? I already explained that it is a vector database. So just have an account in Pinecone. As you can see, you can either connect with Google, GitHub, Microsoft. So whatever you are comfortable with, just do that and get in. Now you will not land on this page. You will land on Get Started page. So all you have to do is just go on Create Index. So you click on Begin Setup, and then you will have to select a model in it. So now you see all of these models are paid actually, because every one of them requires a paid API key. And I'm going to show you how are you going to get an embedding model for free. So basically what you have to do, just give it a name and enter dimension 768. So now what you need to do is just go on Ollama, download and run this command. Now this command, what it will do is that it basically install Ollama in your laptop or your PC itself, and you will have that embedding model also. So just pair it up with your domain and you will have your working Ollama embedding model ready. Now let's go to n8n and build this whole model. So now first node will be a simple chat input node. So we're going to give it a on chat message, and then we're going to add another node which is going to be an AI agent. So we have an AI agent with us, and let's add a chat model. So the chat model will be I'm going to use Grok chat model. You can use any one of them. You can also use Grok chat model, it is free. You can also use Gemini for it, because it is also free. Now for the tool, we are going to search the Pinecone vector. So I'm just going to write Pinecone vector store, and here we have a Pinecone vector store. You can see that I've already connected my credential. When you will get an API key, you can also create a new credential. Just go to create new credential and you will just have to enter your API key. And in the description, you can simply write that use this tool to get access to your document. Then on Pinecone index, you can simply go and choose your index. So I'm going to choose an index that I've already created, and just select the limit at number 4. Include metadatabase and re-rank results, and then we're going to add an embedding. So in the embedding, I'm going to select Ollama embedding, and here you can see now we can just connect our credential. So if you don't have any credential, as you might not have, then you can just simply create it by pasting a base URL here, and just select the model as Nomic embedded text latest that we have pulled, and now your embedding is done. So now we have completed our chatbot so that we can ask any question to this agent, but now we still need to actually put our document inside the vector database so that the agent can pull that document and can answer our questions. So for that, we are going to make a simple workflow in which we will send a document in our drive, and then through that drive, it is going to go into our vector database. Just a quick note, guys, if you really want to save yourself some hassle from this Ollama thing, you can always buy an OpenAI API key and just buy in some credits in it. You can use that API key in the embedding model as well as the chat model. And let me tell you that GPT's chat model are really good. They present a very good answer, so you can always look out for that. But anyways, if you don't have that fun, you can follow my tutorial and then just do it for free. So in this small workflow, we are going to be using a Google Drive trigger, and in this trigger, the trigger on will be changes involving a specific folder. In the from list section, we are going to use the folder in which our document is going to be in, right? So here I'm selecting FAQ, and then in watch for, we are going to go at file created, so that any file that is being uploaded in that folder or is being created in that folder will trigger this workflow. Now the second node will be a download file one, so that we can download the file that we have uploaded in the Google Drive. In file, we are going to use from ID and not from list, because if we select from list, then it will only pull the specific file, but from ID it will become dynamic. Now the third node will be the pinecone vector store node. We are going to use again the pinecone index will be n8n. Now we are going to add an embedding again. In this workflow, I'm also using the Olama embedding. Then we are going to use a default data loader. So it is the only option here. And in the text splitting, I'm going to go with custom, and I'm going to add a text splitter, which is going to be recursive character text splitter, and I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now our workflow is ready, so I'm just going to run this pinecone vector store, and as you can see, it is working, and it is using the embedding Olama to actually convert our text into vectors, and that will be stored in our vector database. And now it is executed completely. So this means that our file is now successfully stored in our vector database. So now we're going to open our chat. Now I'm going to write a simple question that is present in my document. Is Autopilot AI a real service? As you can see, the workflow is going on, and the answer has come, that is no. According to the FAQ in the hypothetical policy document, Autopilot AI is not a real existing service. It is a fictional example created for demonstration or educational purpose. So yep, that's our output, and that is actually what is written in the document. Well, that means our workflow is working and we have successfully created a RAG agent. Well, congratulations everyone, because you successfully built a RAG agent from scratch. And now in the third part, we are going to talk about what are the actual real life use cases for this RAG agent. Well, there are n number of use cases. You can use it wherever you want and in any situation you want. But I'm just going to list out some popular use cases. So one of those use cases is for the students. Well, I think students are missing out on a very big opportunity to improve their grades by missing out on these RAG agents, because you can just simply give it your whole textbook that is present in PDF form, and you can just ask any question that is related to that textbook, and it is going to answer you with full accuracy. You can also even ask him to summarize things. You can even also ask him to list out the exact line or the author, sources, everything. It will do so. So it is a very big opportunity for you guys to use this daily, so that you can improve your learning and understanding about your subjects. Now another use case can be a customer support AI agent. Obviously, as I showed you in the example, and well, you can also make several modifications yourselves as you find suitable. If you get any idea and you think that this can improve this RAG agent, then do so, because the opportunities and possibilities are endless with this. So well guys, that's it from my side. I hope you really liked this video, and if you did, leave a comment down there telling me how are you going to use this RAG agent in your life, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.